Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Makakodash. Second of all, I'm going to give the honor to my elder, millstone, and third of all, I'm going to give the the brothers that push this truth, the truth of the King James Bible, and all truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the globe. Alright, so I just want to do a short lesson on how alone the spirit of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai allows it to go. And I want to name the video, random thought or thinking out loud. The Lord Willie brother can see on the screen. I have this article here for the Zero Hedge, and I'm pretty sure all the brothers out there have heard this news. All right, but it says Putin signs decree ordering gas exports to be halted if buyers don't pay in rubles. All right. Again, I'm pretty sure all the brothers out there have heard this news, which is good news. All right, but through the spirit, couldn't sleep or whatever, so I'm just strolling back through Zero Hedge and Drudge Report and see if anything else new got uploaded. Through the spirit led me to look up what nations, what all nations, or how many nations or whatever buy Russian oil. All right, and when you look it up, pretty much all the nations that the heaviest buyers or the biggest buyers of Russian gas and oil or whatever is all NATO and EU nations. All right, so this puts them between a rock and a hard place because a large majority of their oil they get from Russia. A good percentage of the oil they get from Russia. All right, so again, this puts them between a rock and a hard place. Are they gonna start dealing in rubles eventually, or are they just gonna give Russia the middle finger? All right, and stay on Babylon's side. And another thing, Biden just opened up the oil reserves here in Babylon the Great. I gotta want to look further into it, but just a random thought, just me speaking as a man. I was thinking could to counteract what Putin's doing, could Biden sell? Say, look, well, you don't have to buy, you don't have to do that. You don't have to come out and say you don't have to use rubles or whatever to buy oil. We'll just sell you our oil, the oil we got. But he's pretty much halted or stopped all the drilling for oil here in Babylon the Great, pretty much. All right, he's pretty much stopped it with the Keystone pipeline and all that. He's pretty much put a halt to it. So there's not really a lot of hold, as far as to my knowledge, is pretty much Babylon is pretty much put a halt on drilling for oil or whatever. But he could come out and say, look, well, we'll just sell you our oil, but then that'll shorten the supply here in Babylon, the oil supply here in Babylon. So it's a lot that could happen, man. And again, I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but it's just a random thought, and I want to look more into that, see if that's something that they would do, because that's something he could do, to counteract what Putin's doing. Again, just come out and say, look, well, because Putin's serious about this. He's just signed a decree today, which goes in effect today. Today's date is April 1st, 2022, year of Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai turning up. They're not selling their oil if you don't convert it. If you don't use the ruble, the Russian ruble, they're not selling you any oil or any gas. All right, so that's going to be again, that puts them NATO and EU nations between a rock and a hard place. All right, but again, to counteract that, Putin, Bidenstein, to quote what Gregory Manarino calls him, he calls him Bidenstein. Bidenstein could come out and say, look, we'll just sell you our oil. You don't have to buy oil from Russia. All right, but then that'll kill off the remaining supply of oil that's here in Babylon the Great. All right, so it's a lot going on, man. All right, and on top of all of that, you got to remember the three top selling nations that sell oil or whatever, export oil, is but two of them is Russia and Saudi Arabia. All right, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Babylon might be number one as of right now, but the top two is Russia and Saudi Arabia. All right, and Biden came out a few weeks ago and said, well, we're not going to buy Russian oil anymore. We're not going to support the Russian economy anymore. So he cut that off. And Saudi Arabia is another one. And Saudi Arabia is not even accepting phone calls from Bidenstein right now, or the U.S. or the West. So that's another thing to keep an eye on, what Saudi Arabia is going to do in these next few days. What if they come out and say, look, we're gonna sell our oil and our gas for our currency, or we're gonna deal in rubles as well, or we're gonna use the yen, or some other currency, or just accept it in gold. Say we're only gonna take gold now for our oil, or for our natural gas, or our energy or whatever. All right. So Saudi Arabia is another nation to keep an eye on, seeing what they're gonna do in this situation. All right, but this definitely puts them European Union and NATO nations in a bind. Now, as far as I know, they're behind the U.S. or whatever, but that could change quick. What if they start running low on oil and all of that, and gas and all of that, and then they go back and support Russia? All right, we all know the end game how it's going to happen. The scripture says that the beast shall hate the whore ultimately and make her and destroy Babylon the Great, which is America. All right, but I don't want to keep rambling. Let me read this article right here because I don't want to make it too long at all. But it says again, a lot of things can happen, man. All right. Biden signs decree ordering gas exports to be halted. Putin signs decree ordering gas exports to be halted if buyers don't pay in rubles. Contrary to expectations that Vladimir Putin was bluffing about collecting rubles in exchange for Russian energy exports. Moments ago, a decree signed by the Russian president confirmed that that was not the case. According to Bloomberg, Putin said he had signed a decree demanding payments in rubles for Russian gas supply, which is set to begin at April 1st, which is today. All right. As previously reported, according to the decree, while Russia will continue to supply gas at a set volume price, it would demand that buyers of gas open accounts in Russian banks. And this is a declaration of war because the U.S. usually goes and invade countries, dictators or leaders that try to get from up under the U.S. dollar. They want to sell their natural resources for something else other than the petrodollar, than the U.S. dollar. All right, so this is definitely a direct act of war. But all these money systems are about to be done away with anyway. All right, but it says a warning, and it's going to be replaced by the MOTB. Uh, and the warning, Moscow can halt gas contracts if buyers don't pay in rubles. So if you don't pay in Russian rubles, they ain't selling you nothing, man. Additionally, new processing new processings in euro or US or USD, which is euros and US dollars, could be blocked, right? So, in pushing what many view as bluff to the edge, Putin said that the active contracts will be halted if demands are not met, right? So if you don't pay in Russian rubles, they're not selling you anything, all right? And explained that the move is meant to increase settlements in national currencies, all right? So if you ain't paying in Russian rubles, they ain't selling you nothing, man. All right, at all. And again, this puts the beast nations, which is the NATO and EU nations, between a rock and a hard place. What are they going to do? All right, what are they going to do at the end of this? All right, this may be, which we all know what they're going to do at the end. All right, they're going to turn on America and shoot missiles on it. But this could be something to help, speed up the process of the beast hating the whore, making it desolate. You know, they decide to look. We're gonna, we gotta buy. We gotta get our oil. We gotta look up for our people. We're dealing with Russian rubles now. We're not dealing with U.S. dollars anymore. All right, and that's a slap in the face to Babylon. All right, and that's gonna stir up more tension between the beast and the whore. All right, but it's like here. Let me pause it real quick. I'm gonna pull this up real quick just to show them. All right, Salaki brothers. Lord Willis brothers can see on the screen. I just did a simple Google search for who does Russia sell oil to. All right, and then you click down. You go down, of course, to question people asked or whatever. I think the screen just froze, man. Satan, man. But Lord Willis brothers can see on the screen. It says where is Russian oil sold, and it says about half of Russia exports oil and shipping to European countries. All right, including Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Poland. Germany is a part of NATO and the EU. Um, Italy is, the Netherlands is, Poland is, Finland I believe is, um, Greece I think is, Romania I think is, and the other one says, and it says China is another large buyer in imports 1.6 million barrels per day of Russian oil, crude oil. All right, so again that puts these NATO and EU nations in a bind, man, man. All right, in between a rock and a hard place. What are they going to do at the end of the deal? And this could be something that Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai uses to put in a more division or animosity between the beast and the whore. You know, them just decided, look, we're just going to deal in Russian rubles, man. We need our oil, we need our energy, man, and you can't supply that to us. All right, because again, Biden's pretty much halted all drilling here in Babylon for oil. All right, and the top nations um with the most oil production or whatever, the gas or natural gas or energy or whatever, is the United States. As of now, I'm looking at it right now. It says top oil production. Looking at it on my other phone, it says the U.S. right now, countries in right now in 2022, which is the U.S. the United States, which that's going to drop dramatically. All right, Russia, which they're not. The U.S. isn't buying Russian oil right now. All right, Saudi Arabia, which they're not accepting calls from the West, and Iraq. All right, which they have a low number. They can't supply Babylon with oil, man. All right, even if they wanted to, which they hate America as well. All right, so and again another good thing to read, which I'm gonna put it up on the screen, is Operation Sandman. That's pretty much what's going on right now. All right, and again another key thing, a key player to watch out for is Saudi Arabia, to see what they're gonna do in the next few days, because they could decide, look, we're gonna sell our oil for our currency now, or we're just to the Russian ruble, or we'll deal with the yuan, or we'll deal in uh oil. I meant Salaki in what you call it in in with in gold. All right. Again, this is another which I uploaded this through the Spirit and Power How about Shemi. I was shot 6 days ago. And it's called Operation Sandman. All right. And it says the U.S. dollar will be abandoned and no longer acceptable. All right, and that's what you're seeing right now. All right, which is the U.S. which is basically talking about the petrodollar. All right, which if any country wants to buy oil or whatever, you have to convert your money to U.S. dollars in order to purchase it. But that's dying off, man. And again, Saudi Arabia, again, the nation, the nation to keep an eye on is Saudi Arabia, man. All right. So I'm gonna play this part right here. Keep it going. And all currencies are going to be abandoned soon because the MOTB is going to take its place. All right, here's another one. It says, where would the U.S. get fuel and oil if no one accepts our money? The U.S. dollar is finished, right? So Russia is the top oil producer, and they're only accepting rubles now. Saudi Arabia and Babylon, Biden just opened up opened up the oil reserves, and who knows, he could sell that oil to Russia. I mean, he could sell that oil to Europe, and that'll cut off the supply of oil we have here already. So that could, uh, um, shorten the supply here in Babylon. We gotta wait and see what's gonna happen with that. And Saudi Arabia, they're not even accepting phone calls right now with from the West right now, due to them, going back on that deal with who was Afghanistan, I believe, or Iran, or whichever one it was. Um, but it says, where would the U.S. get fuel and oil if no one accepts our money? U.S. is finished as the oil trading platform and global world currency. We will have military. We have a military that the climate and airplanes that can't fly. Right, the U.S. military is finished too, but it's done too. But um, yeah. So Saudi Arabia, Russia, they're not accept Babylon's not accepting oil from Russia right now. All right, and Saudi Arabia, they could turn their back on America as well and say we're going to sell our oil for something else. We're not accepting U.S. dollars anymore for oil. So where does that leave America? Asked out. All right. So a lot's going on, man. A lot's happening, man. All right. And wars get started over oil, man. Wars get started over oil. Look at what happened to Muammar Gaddafi in Libya and Saddam Hussein. All right, look what happened to them when they tried to give them up under, sell their natural gases or whatever, oil or whatever, for something other than the U.S. dollar. War broke out. So wars get broke out over oil, man. All right, and this is all going to lead up to the third war. All right, refusing key leaders in production and export nations like Saudi Arabia refuse to talk to the leaders of U.S. and allies that we worked so hard to develop are turning away, especially after the Afghanistan situation. So like, yeah, try to make it smaller so brothers can see it, but that's all good. I just read it. So Esau's empire is finished, man. It's already been determined that the U.S. dollar will be taken out of the world reserve currency, and that's what you're seeing right now. All right, by Brazil, Russia, India, China, the right, BRIC nations, and Iran. Trading commodities will be gold, platinum, and palladium, if I pronounce that right, which I'm pretty sure I didn't. So the U.S. dollar is done, man. Which all currencies ultimately are going to be done away with. They're getting ready to bring in the next system, which is a digital system, which will require you to take a microchip in your hand or your brain to buy and sell things. All right, so this is talking about the nuclear ICBM nuclear missiles. That's it, but that's the end game. And it quoted Revelation 6:4, the red horse, which is talking about the Edomites and that great sword given to them. They're going to destroy each other, man. They're going to take each other out, man. All right. So I'm gonna get this one. I should read that, but I'm gonna get this. Because the Lord Yahweh Shah said it best, man. A nation or kingdom divided against itself should not stand. All right. And these Russians and the Americans here, the white Americans are Edomites. The Russians are Edomites. The Ukrainians are Edomites. The NATO and EU nations are all Edomites, ran by Edomites. So that's heavy division in the kingdom of Edom. All right, and it's not going to stand. They're going to take each other out, like it said in that Operation Sandman post. That was a good scripture they post, bro. So they know who Esau is. They know Esau is the so-called white man. The red horse is talking about the so-called white man, which is Esau. This is St. Matthew chapter 12, verse 25. And Yahweh Shai knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. Right, and there's heavy division amongst the kingdom of Edom. It's been that way and it's going to stay that way until they destroy each other. And every city or house divided against itself should not stand. Right? So Esau's kingdom isn't going to stand, man. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. Shaitan, all right, which is the top adversary of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, the Edomites. How shall then his kingdom stand? So whose kingdom is this talking about? Esau's kingdom, the so-called white man. All right? It's done, man. It's finished. All right? So again, that's pretty much it. Really, I just, just really just surfing the web or whatever again. Couldn't sleep. The spirit had it while I just looked up. Well, what countries buy oil from Russia? Gas and natural energy and all that from Russia. And pretty much all NATO and EU nations outside of China. All right, so what are they going to do? Are they going to stay on the side of America? This could be, again, one thing um, that brings more division between the beast and the whore, which ultimately will lead to. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and just read it. Which ultimately is going to lead to it's like Babylon the Great being destroyed by them NATO and EU nations and Russia. All right, because again, what if they decide, we're just going to deal with Russian rubles? We'll just use Russian rubles or whatever right now to buy oil. That's going to put more tension between the beast and the whore, which ultimately is going to lead to. And I'm not saying that's what's going to cause them to shoot missiles on this place, but that could stir up more division amongst them. All right, like when Trump got in office, Trump stirred up a lot of division amongst the beast and the whore. This could, if they decide to look, we're going to just deal in Russian rubles to buy Russia's energy. Obviously America's not going to like that, and that's going to cause more tension between the beast and the whore, which ultimately will lead to this scripture right here being fulfilled. Again, I'm not saying that's what it's going to be, but it could be, something just to build up that animosity more. All right, just speaking as a man. This is Revelation chapter 17, verse 16, and there it's like and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, which represents NATO and the EU. All right, the Northern Atlantic Treaty Organization and the European Union. They shall hate the whore and shall make her desolate. And the whore is talking about America. All right, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And that fire is going to be by way of the ICBM nuclear missiles. Verse 17, Yahweh have put in their hearts to fulfill his will and agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the word of Yahweh should be fulfilled. All right, let me just go ahead and read that Revelation 6, man. It's Revelation chapter 6, verse 4. And there went out another horse that was red, which represents Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. He's not really white, he's red. And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. And Esau has definitely done that. All right. All the major wars that have been going on, they all been between Edomites. Edomites start them, man. All of them are between Edomites. All of them are funded and started and ran by Edomites. All right. So Esau, like, look at over there in Ukraine and Russia. Who's that be between? It's between Edomites. It's Edomite on Edomite crime. All right. And all the mother nations, all right, that Esau has invaded. He goes and invades them. So he's definitely taking peace from the earth. The reason why there can't be world peace, because Esau, Edom, the so-called white race, is still ruling. All right, to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and that's what's ultimately going to happen. And there was given unto him a great sword, all right, to kill each other, man. All right, and again, world wars get started over oil, man. All right, so again, this is just something to keep an eye on. Just really just thinking out loud. I pray I wasn't too all over the place. I pray this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rekakwadash, double honors to my elders and apostles, a great millstone, and peace and safety to the brothers that push this truth and sincerity. And with that, I'm going to say shalom to the elect.